Hey guys! This is part 6 of What If Naruto Has No Chakra. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start! Chapter 16. As the wings of the Nanabi grew out of her shoulders, allowing her to fly, Fo was quickly swarmed by a dozen floating explosive tags, but managed to dodge them by soaring upward. Meanwhile, Kisame summoned a circle of water around himself to stop the same projectiles. Fu Konan started, hovering above the ground with her paper wings. I always treated you the best I could. I did my best to show you our way was the right way. If you surrender, I will convince Pain to spare you. Sorry, no way I'm going back to your gilded cage. Fu snarled, spitting a cloud of golden, flammable dust at her adversary. Then you shall suffer the consequences. Konan shouted back, dropping her stoic expression for once, flying out of the dust's way and retaliating with a volley of sharpened paper sheets. Fu dodged them, each projectile being potentially deadly. For Amigekure, Kisame, creating enormous quantities of water, turned the liquid into shark-shaped missiles and fired 24 of them at Konan. The woman frowned and had a few paper tags intercept them. Seals drawn on them shined, absorbing the projectiles inside themselves, easily stopping the assault. She incorporated seals to her paper tags to create a variety of effects, Fu guessed, flying toward Konan, but I'm pretty sure she isn't that good hand-to-hand. The Akatsuki member noticed her opponent too late to dodge, allowing Fu to punch her torso. The strength of the blow probably broke a rib or two, if Konan's expression was to be trusted, and sent the kunoichi crashing into a nearby building's wall. Kisame seized the opportunity, jumping in the air while swinging his weapon. Konan barely flew out of the way, the Samahata barely missing its target. After putting as much distance between them as possible, the kunoichi used explosive tags to demolish the building and had it collapse on top of Kisame. Before Fu could rush to his rescue, she was forced to dodge more incoming explosive tags. Origami Jutsu, Konan snapped, summoning red paper sheets. Dragon Dance, red seals shined on the paper tags, and at their master's command, each of them unleashed a blast of fire at Fu. The girl skillfully dodged most of them, although a few hit her flesh. Hey, be wary! The Nanabi's voice resonated inside Fu's mind, its power already curing its host of the burns she was suffering from. Even my healing factor has its limits. Try to dodge them all if possible. I'm trying! Fu snapped, doing her best to avoid being burned alive. To the people on the ground, it seemed like a fireworks display, with a green comet skillfully dodging multiple incoming fire projectiles. However, to Fu, this was both tiring and difficult. The Jinchuriki therefore decided to go on the offensive. Inhaling sharply and channeling more of the Nanabi's chakra, Fu flew upward, towards the clouds. Her skin was quickly covered with a green mix of chakra and blood, and although the strain on both her body and mind was terrible, the girl managed to stay focused. Her speed kept increasing, until the red tags couldn't keep up with her. Then, as a pseudohorn, the Nanabi's horns started growing out of her forehead, Fu turned around and started her descent, aiming for Konan. The paper woman could only pale when she realized Fu was about to impale her. Fortunately for Konan, a combination of her excellent reflexes and Fu's trajectory allowed her to dodge, partially. While she wasn't killed, Konan didn't move completely out of the way, and Fu's horn tore apart her left arm. Konan, for the first time in the entire fight, shrieked in pain. With difficulty, Fu managed to regain control of her trajectory, but a few dozen explosive tags surrounded her and detonated. The resulting explosion sent her crashing into a roof, and forced her to regain her human appearance. Konan closed in, now preparing to maim her opponent back in revenge. Then something hit her. As it turned out, not only had Kisame survived, but by surrounding his body with water, he had turned himself into a living missile, hitting Konan at full force and sending her to smash into the other end of the roof. Regaining his footing, Kisame turned his armor of water into a mini tsunami and propelled it towards Konan. Standing up, Konan mentally commanded paper tags to put themselves in the attack's way, their seals quickly absorbing the liquid. Then, as Kisame helped Fu rise back up, the paper Amigekure's angel shaped a dozen spears with sharpened paper sheets. This is over. Konan raised her remaining hand. Shikigami-dan. Then she coughed blood, as a katana impaled her heart from behind. Fu and Kisame both gasped in shock, as Konan turned her head to face her attacker, a black-haired man who had just teleported behind her, smirking triumphantly as his Sharingan memorized her despaired expression. Hey, sweetie, Obito Uchiha whispered to Konan's ear, as he twisted the blade to increase his victim's pain. Nothing personal, I'm just paying little Nagato back for leaving me sealed. No hard feelings. Conan ground her teeth together, colors leaving her face. When death quickly claimed her, Toby tossed the corpse to the side and took back his blade, not bothering to get rid of the blood on it. Hey, Kisame, he greeted the swordsman, his cheerfulness contrasting greatly with his chilling actions. How have you been, Madara? Kisame blinked in surprise. Weren't you dead? Nah, although pain did try to leave me rot. You know me, I can never stay down. Toby chuckled and glanced at Fu. Hey girlie, nice to meet you. The name is Toby, and you must be the Nanabai, am I right? Fu glared at him. The man clearly wasn't seeing her as a person, he only cared about the bijou inside her, this Sharingan. Kisame trailed off, recognizing the strange pattern in both of Toby's eyes. You only had one Mangekyo before. Thanks to Zetsu's quick surgery, I have taken back what was mine, with interests. Toby snorted. Anyway, just knock out the girl and let's get. No. The answer seemed to genuinely amaze the Uchiha, whose jaw dropped when Kisame adopted a fighting stance, shielding Fu with his body. I'm done working for you, he said. If you want her, it will be over my dead body. Have you gone crazy? Toby snarled, almost as surprised as Fu herself. She's needed for the Moon's Eye plan. Don't you want to see a world of truth? Don't tell me you grew attached to this trash? Your world of truth is a lie, a delusion, Kisame shot back calmly. I have found a true friend and comrade in Itachi. This is the world of truth I've been after all along. I don't want your illusion any longer. Toby stayed silent an instant, and then burst out laughing. You and Itachi? Ha! I almost believed for a second. When he noticed Kisame was serious, the Uchiha glared at his former ally. Alright, let me teach you something. The man crossed his arms. Man lives and dies alone. Friendship, love, all this shit is just a lie we tell ourselves to deny reality. This is just a farce. Our lives are just dirt, and bonds are as meaningless. If you think Itachi is a friend, then you're even dumber than I thought. Fu had enough of the blabbering and prepared a jutsu. You're the only one alone here, she snarled, firing a blast of golden dust at the Uchiha. The attack phased through the man harmlessly. As much as it shames me, fighting both you and a Jinchuriki might be a little too hard for me, so I'll take my leave, Toby told Kisame, teleporting away, but not before uttering one last ominous sentence. It's not like she's the only Jinchuriki I can grab anyway. Dosu was, in a nutshell, a brute, all strength and zero skill. After Naruto dodged a punch, and then a kick, the blonde realized for all the muscle the samsara had given his opponent, he was still a genin inside. His moves were careless, easy to predict, and were overall a waste of breath. So far he hadn't managed to hit Naruto since the beginning of their duel, while the Konohanin had already landed a few blows. However, none of them had fazed his adversary. So far the two ninjas were locked in a stalemate, which, considering the difference in strength, would probably end when Dosu managed to grab Naruto and knock him out. Unwilling to be backed into a corner, Naruto launched a volley of shuriken at Dosu's eyes, hoping to blind him. The renegade ninja protected his face with his arm, and the Jinchuriki realized he would need to taunt him into making a mistake. Look, Dosu, I've got to say, beside your pretty face, I didn't see what the samsara improved on. I mean, I don't have any chakra and yet you can't even reach me. I don't need to, the man snickered calmly, activating his melody arm. While the distance between the fighters was too great for Naruto's inner ear to be affected, the blonde still felt the vibrations. It doesn't matter how long you dodge, it's only a matter of time before I hit you. Hell, I don't even need to win, just delay you until Pain-sama notices us. Then you and the tree huggers will be crushed. As much as it shamed Naruto, the man was right. The Jinchuriki had to win fast. If only I had my lighter or summons, he thought grimly, throwing smoke bombs at Dosu and preventing him from seeing clearly. Why do you even call us tree huggers? Naruto asked, before attempting to sneak around his opponent and hit him from behind. Oh, I know, a Konohanin kicked your ass real bad, am I right? You know nothing, Dosu snarled, trying to locate him by sound. However, Naruto, being much faster, had already started attacking. Carrying two kunai, Naruto stabbed Dosu's right eye, drawing blood. When the enraged ninja attempted to retaliate by smashing the blonde with the melody arm, the Jinchuriki leapt backward and threw the second kunai at his opponent's forehead, barely missing. So far, the hit and run tactic was a complete success. So it was a Konohanin. Naruto trailed off, preparing another smoke bomb. I should have guessed one of us would have beat up an asshole like you at a point or another. You think you're a hero? Dosu roared angrily, his eye bleeding profusely. With astonishing speed, he attempted to tackle Naruto, who barely dodged, only for Dosa's hand to grab his shoulder. Oh shit, Naruto thought, before being tossed to the ground. Konoha took my face and my home. Dosa snarled, grabbing Naruto's neck with both his hands and lifting him above the ground. My parents and their neighborhoods were just peasants on a strike, but the daimyo paid your ninja to massacre us. Your kind burned my home with me inside, Naruto coughed, as Dosa tightened his grip on the blonde's neck. Apparently, he had completely forgotten about Pain's orders to keep the Jinchuriki alive and was now trying to strangle the blonde to death. The Konoha searched for a kunai in his pockets, found one, and stabbed Dosa's hand with it. While the ninja groaned, he didn't appear that bothered. In fact, he increased the pressure. But now, I'll be the one laying waste to Konoha. Dosa snarled madly. It's my turn. Dropping the kunai, Naruto frantically searched in his pockets. There was only one thing that could save him right now. He would have to thank Pain for leaving it to him. Finally, Naruto found the item he was looking for, a small syringe full of a liquid Dosu instantly recognized. The samsara? Dosa's eyes betrayed a tiny hint of panic. He probably expected Naruto to use it on himself, and even the odds. Give it to me, if you say so, the blonde managed to blurt out, before stabbing Dosa's arm with the syringe and releasing the product into his veins. All of it. The man shrieked and released Naruto, holding his arm in pain. As Dosa hissed, his opponent gasped for air. When Dosa started convulsing in pain, the blonde smirked triumphantly. What's wrong, having an overdose? Naruto taunted, grabbing the kunai he had previously dropped. They didn't tell you about the drug's side effects, did they? If you take too much of it, your body can't handle it. I may be powerless, but at least I went through my own achievements, Dosa hissed, but was powerless to do anything when the blonde leapt on the man's back and raised his weapon. Sorry, Naruto replied, throwing Dosa's former taunts back at him. I'm not paid to care. Then he stabbed Dosa's jugular and spine, killing him almost instantly. The man blurted out something, before collapsing to his knees. Naruto panted, taking a few steps back and examining his surroundings. Team Guy had easily finished off Dosa's reinforcements, with the exception of, actually, Naruto had a hard time describing this thing. It looked like an unholy mix between a white snake and a man, and it was giving Niji and Lee trouble. That is, until Guy smashed the creature's skull into a bloody smear on the ground. Naruto briefly shuddered but smirked when his friends rushed at his side. They quickly removed their ANBU masks, revealing their faces and their Konoha forehead protectors. Thanks, he started, before coughing as Tenten hugged him. I'm so glad to see you again, she said. I was worried for months. It's good to see you too, Naruto managed to blurt out, before Tenten broke off the embrace. We missed you, Niji whispered, patting his friend's shoulder. Now let's get the hell out of there. Indeed, while I find this display of affection most youthful, we need to get away before reinforcements come, Guy ordered, having dropped his usual silly behavior for deadly seriousness. Naruto nodded before frowning. Wait, Tenten, do you have a sword on hand? A tanto, if possible? The kunoichi nodding, opening one of her scrolls and unsealing a blade. I thought you might want it, she said, tossing it at her friend. I've got to do one last thing before we flee. Naruto approached Dosa's corpse, raised his blade, and then cut the arm equipped with the melody arm from the rest of the body. Naruto, what the hell? Tenten asked in surprise. It makes removing the melody arm faster, Naruto explained, separating the device from Dosa's limb. Then he proceeded to equip it on his own arm. Naruto-san, there's still the guy's blood all over it, Lee pointed out, disgusted. Consider it a war trophy, Naruto shrugged. It would be a waste not to take it. When I figure out how it works, it could be a real lifesaver. Now let's go. Only the ninja's good reflexes saved them this time, when they noticed a fireball flying in their direction. The group separated and dodged, as a powerful explosion devastated the street. Naruto, quickly regaining his composure, found himself suddenly grabbed by the neck by a man in black. Naruto Uzumaki, the individual whispered, his Sharingan's Tomo adopting a strange, unnatural shape. Time to follow Tobi-kun like a good fox. Much to Naruto's horror, the man's Sharingan turned into a black hole, threatening to swallow him whole. Fortunately, Guy literally kicked in. His foot slammed into the man's torso, forcing him to release Naruto, and propelled him a few meters away. The shinobi managed to land to his feet and gave the jounin a murderous glare. Impossible. Guy paled, upon recognizing his adversary. Obito, you know this guy? Naruto asked, readying his blade, while the rest of the group closed in, prepared to stand their ground. For a guy who can't remember faces, you're surprisingly sharp to recognize someone you haven't seen for more than a decade, the Uchiha hissed. He is Obito Uchiha, a Chunin thought to be killed in action during the Third Shinobi War, Guy said, still amazed by the Uchiha's surprising return. He was one of the Yandame's students, alongside Kakashi. My dad's student? Naruto wondered inwardly. You know, Guy, last time we talked, it was when you humiliated me back when we were kids, Obito hissed, as he started making hand seals. I'd been waiting to settle the score for a long time. The Uchiha opened his mouth and unleashed a stream of fire. The Konohanins dispersed again to dodge, and went on the offensive immediately. Guy, the fastest and strongest, reached this Uchiha first, his fist within an inch of the man's face. Obito suddenly vanished out of sight, his body replaced with dozens of explosive tags. Naruto paled in horror as he watched Guy get blown up at closed range, his body burned and torn apart into an unrecognizable mess. His death had probably been instantaneous. Guy-sensei! Lee screamed in horror, imitated by Tenten. Niji, while not going into an outburst, stood still, paralyzed by shock, before rushing with Lee to his sensei's corpse, unwilling to accept the harsh reality. Haha! Obito chuckled cheerfully as he reappeared not far away from Naruto, not caring in the slightest he just murdered somebody in cold blood. That trick never gets old. Sharingan, intangibility. Naruto instantly realized who he was up against, clenched his jaw, and charged. You're the one who killed my sensei. Boy, I've killed so many people I can't remember half of them, even with the Sharingan, the man taunted. His eye opened a hole in space once more, allowing the Uchiha to draw a katana out of it. You've got to be a little more specific. It was obviously a provocation to make Naruto slip up, but the blonde had a hard time shrugging it off. Her name was Anko Mitarashi. Naruto snarled, trying to bisect the man in half. Tobi hastily parried with his own blade, and quickly, the two shinobi engaged each other in an intense sword duel. While Naruto was without a doubt the most skilled of the two with a sword, according to Obito's careless fighting style, the Uchiha was both much stronger physically and was using the Sharingan to predict his opponent's moves. One night you murdered her after Sasori took her hostage. Look, kid, for you the day I murdered your mentor was the most important day of your life, but for me. Tobi gloated, parrying another sword strike. It was Tuesday. Then he landed a kick between Naruto's legs, before sending him crashing into his back with a powerful punch. Finally, he raised his katana and lowered it to maim the blonde, only for a volley of kunai to stop him, phasing through his body and deflecting his sword. The next second, Lee was at his throat. You killed Guy-sensei. He snarled and raged. His body was radiating with chakra. Third gate, open! Obito grunted and took a few steps back, before allowing Lee to close in. The boy's punch went through the older shinobi as if he was made of air, and Tobi turned his blade around in a sweeping motion, intending to behead his adversary in one swoop. With nigh supernatural accuracy, Tenten launched a kunai at Obito's sword, deviating it and saving her teammate. If he was completely intangible, he wouldn't be able to wield a blade, Naruto pointed out, glancing at Niji. Can the Byakugan help us? I'm already studying his chakra pathway, but his body composition is incredibly odd, the Hyuga replied, focusing. I need you to buy me some time before I can find a flaw in his technique. Tenten, since he needs to keep his hand tangible to hold his blade, try to target it or his sword, Naruto explained, joining the melee. If we can disarm him, he will lose his extended range. He didn't even wait for her to agree to join Lee. With a powerful kick, Tobi repelled Lee, before parrying a sword slash from Naruto. When he attempted to retaliate with an horizontal swing, Tenten's kunai deflected the katana, putting Obito on the defensive. Since when aren't you kids a joke anymore? He grunted. Practice, Naruto snorted, trying to disarm Obito with a vertical swing. The Uchiha hastily parried it, but one of Tenten's kunai targeted his hand. To avoid being hurt, Obito turned it intangible and was forced to drop his weapon, much to Naruto's delight. Seems like you're the joke here. Man, if I had known you would be so troublesome to subdue, I would have killed you alongside your mother years ago. Naruto's brief surprise was the single opening Obito needed, as he grabbed the blonde's neck. The blonde was thrown near Tenten, and accidentally dropped his own blade. The kunoichi helped him get back to his feet, but Naruto was focusing on Obito, and Obito alone. Suddenly, everything became as clear as water. Obito was Minato's student, meaning he probably knew Kushina and the fact she was the Kyuubi's Jinchuriki. Once upon a time, Madara Uchiha had managed to control the nine-tailed fox with the Sharingan, who said he was the only Uchiha who could pull it off. You! Naruto snarled in rage. You're the one who unleashed the Kyuubi on Konoha years ago. Yes. Toby admitted with chilling nonchalance. I did it. I'm the one who kidnapped your whore of a mother and ripped the Kyuubi from her belly, killing her. Then I set it loose on Konoha. And if I could, I would do it all over again. Tenten had exploited the man's monologue to launch a volley of kunai at him, each of them covered with explosive tags. Obito vanished in the resulting blast, only to reappear in front of the kunoichi. Without wasting any time, he quickly punched her, breaking her nose and almost knocking her out. Even more enraged, Naruto tried to get his sword back, but Obito quickly engaged him in close combat. Forced to protect himself from a punch with his arms, the blonde glared at his enemy. Why? He snarled. Why did you do that? The Yondaime was your own mentor. Why? Because I wanted to show the world the famous, invincible Yondaime Hokage was shit. Obito snapped wrathfully, quickly overpowering his rival with a frenzied series of blows. He promised he would come to save us if we were in danger, but he abandoned me and left me to rot under rocks. He showed up to save his prized student Kakashi, but the dropout Obito Uchiha wasn't important enough for him to save. He snickered. Why do you think I left you run around for so long, when I could have kidnapped you up any time? Watching the spitting image of my sensei getting rejected by the people Minato gave his life to save, time and time again, was so fulfilling. You killed thousands of people. Naruto snarled, incensed. You ruined my life, idiot. You think life has value? Toby snapped back, pushing the blonde back with a roundhouse kick. You think when I disappeared anybody gave a shit? Everyone just cried for the show, then forgot to even get my corpse back. All we get when we die is a mention on a tombstone, and then we're forgotten like trash. This is completely wrong. Tenten snapped, having recovered Naruto's sword and joining the melee. Obito was forced to turn intangible to survive the assault. We Konohanins value life. Which is why we came here to help Naruto. While Naruto smirked, Toby grunted. He teleported away, and fired a burst of flames at the duo. The two ninjas dodged and then, with surprising synchronization, raced toward the criminal. This is what the leaf represents, Tenten boasted, her sword going through Obito's body as if he was made of air. The respect of life. We Konohanins fight to save our comrades, no matter the cost, and we cherish the memory of the dead. This is why I feel proud to wear Konoha's headband. You have no idea just how stupid you sound, Toby hissed angrily, more annoyed by her words than her ineffective attacks. At this moment, Neji hit him in the back with a spiraling orb. Naruto found the sight strangely beautiful. The orb of chakra in Neji's palm was twisting on itself as it impacted on the Uchiha's flesh. The man was propelled away, only managing to stand up again with great difficulty. The Rasengan, he hissed. Someone taught you kids the fucking Rasengan? You do not turn intangible, Neji declared, ignoring the remark. You only appear to be. You teleport your body parts to another location before hits can connect with them, while the rest of your body stay in our world. The teleportation is too fast for normal eyes to process, but the Byakugan's vision of your Tenketsu allows me to see which body parts you teleport, and those I can strike. Your second-rate dojutsu still can't hold a candle to my Mangekyo Sharingan, Toby snapped, before teleporting once more to avoid a sneak attack from Lee. Everyone, swarm him! Neji commanded, the Konohanins obeying instantly. Toby soon found himself forced to dodge or turn intangible to protect himself. He dodged a punch from Naruto, let Tenten's blade phase through his belly, and deflected Neji's gentle fist. The ribs. The Hyuga ordered. Target the ribs. Toby didn't turn intangible fast enough. Lee's foot impacted on his solid thorax, breaking a rib, and propelled him against a building's wall. The shock almost knocked him out, and he fell on his knees. But this time, he was furious. When the boulders crushed my body, he whispered with a creepy monotony, I survived, but my brain suffered extensive damage. Particularly, it removed the biological limitations to my Sharingan. He glared at the group, his eyes bleeding. Naruto paled in dread. The hell? There's a reason why transplanted Sharingan are considered extremely dangerous for their wielder, Obito continued. The Uchiha's brain is naturally geared to reduce the flux of information the Sharingan records, allowing them to keep only important details. A normal brain is quickly overloaded by the information recorded, resulting in tiredness and dementia if used constantly. He rose back up to his feet. The removal of this biological limitation allowed my skills to skyrocket. After a few years, I, a failure of a shinobi, could stand up against the strongest Hokage the world has ever seen. But this was at a cost. My memories, my mind, it's an utter mess, a boiling chaos. I don't even clearly remember how I survived. Sometimes, it's Kirinines who dig me out. Sometimes, it's Uchiha Madara himself who takes me as apprentice. And often I dig myself out, he chuckled insanely. Sometimes, I'm not even sure I'm even a Bito Uchiha. Sometimes I'm just no one. But there's one thing I know is mine for real, Obito hissed, as he glared at Niji, the hate of the headband you kids take pride in. Kamui, a breach in space opened, right where the Hyuga's left arm used to be. Naruto could only pale in horror as his friend's limb vanished inside the mini black hole, leaving only blood in its place. As Niji collapsed screaming, Tenten gasped in horror, Lee was deathly silent, and Naruto was glaring at Obito with burning fury. What's wrong? The Uchiha mocked, before charging at the blonde. Oh, sorry, did I just blow up your friend or something? Even the Sharingan and Tobi's excellent reflexes weren't enough, when Naruto's fist connected with his face before he could turn intangible. Tobi was tossed to his back, blood flowing from his mouth. He spat something to the ground, and glared at Naruto. You knocked out a tooth, you little piece of... He suddenly realized how much he was screwed. Naruto's body was covered with purple markings and enveloped in sinister, black chakra. He hissed and grabbed his own head before roaring. Tobi rose up to his feet and observed the scene with slight apprehension. His anger awakened Orochimaru's curse seal. Obito thought. Jiraiya's additions weren't enough to restrain it, and now it is conflicting with. Red chakra started surrounding Naruto's body, tearing apart his skin and mixing with his blood. The Yondaime seal. An ungodly killing intent almost paralyzed Obito, as Naruto was replaced with a monster of mixed blood and chakra, an unholy fusion between a man and the nine-tailed fox. Teeth turned into fangs, fingers into claws, and 5 tails grew out of Naruto's back. And fuck, was all Tobi could say before the monster leapt in his direction. Pain attacked first, slamming his palms together and raising the area to the ground with a powerful shockwave. Debris and dust were sent flying toward the Konohanins, and Itachi put himself in the way, his Susanoo armor fully materializing. As the ethereal warrior of chakra shielded everyone, Itachi locked eyes with Jiraiya. I have sent Kisame to break Fu out, he said, so I thought you might need my assistance. Jiraiya frowned. What do you know about this undead abomination, and its abilities? This is Pain's Deva Path, Itachi explained, as the dust started settling down, an animated corpse able to control gravitational, attracting, and repulsing forces. I believe he might have, however, a time limit between his attacks, since he hasn't been able to blast us consecutively. Alright, the Toad Sage nodded, before glancing at his troops. Han, Yugao, engage him at close range. Sasuke, Itachi and I will. What are you doing? Sasuke hissed at Jiraiya. We can't be working with him. He killed your entire family, and who know how many others I know. Jiraiya cut in angrily, hating to be interrupted, and I want him to face justice as much as you do. But Pain is the greater threat, and we need as much help as possible to defeat him, so please, delay your revenge until we beat him. The young genin clenched his fists in rage, but his logic seemed to overcome his wrath. The potent death glare Sasuke sent to his brother, however, chilled Itachi to the bone. Temporary, Sasuke spat venomously, very temporary. So be it, Itachi shrugged. And I thought Orochimaru had issues, Jiraiya snorted, already making hand seals, quickly imitated by Sasuke. Both shinobi left the Susanoo's protection and fired multiple fireballs at Pain. The man raised his hands and repelled the assault with an invisible force, only for Han and Yugao to engage him at close range. The first attempted to punch Pain's face, while the second readied her tanto and prepared to cut Akatsuki's leader in half. The Deva Path dodged Han's first, then jumped above Yugao to avoid her sword and landed behind her back. Before she could turn around, Pain blasted her away with a Shinra Tensei, and she collided with Han. Itachi instantly seized the opportunity and attempted to smash Pain with the Tatsuka sword. The Susanoo raised the blade and lowered it in a vertical swing, but the Deva Path gracefully dodged. You will regret betraying me, Itachi! While the Deva Path's expression was as emotionless as ever, the anger in his voice was very noticeable. You should have thought better than bring upon yourself the wrath of a god. I see no god, Itachi shrugged, only a walking corpse. Pain's reply was to use his power to levitate a huge debris and throw it at the Susanoo, forcing it to shield itself. Meanwhile, Jiraiya reached the Deva Path and smashed a Rasengan against his back, sending the walking corpse flying. He managed to land to his feet and retaliated by blasting his former sensei away with a pulse. Sasuke! Han yelled. Do you remember the lariat move I showed you? The Uchiha nodded. Use the Sharingan and be perfectly synchronized with me, in both strength and movements. Use everything you have. The Uchiha nodded, and vanished from Itachi's sight alongside the Gobi's Jinchuriki. Meanwhile, Pain levitated a dozen giant debris and propelled them in all directions, hopping to crush everyone in the vicinity. While everyone but Itachi dodged, the Susanoo resisted the attack, and charged, followed by Yugao. Both the Kunoichi and the ethereal warrior raised their swords, and attempted to tear the Deva path apart. Pain easily repelled both of them away with a Shinra Tensei, and regretted it 1 second later. The 5 seconds limit between his techniques sealed the Deva path's fate, when he was left with nothing to defend himself with. When Han and Sasuke closed in, their arms extended, both from behind and in front of Pain, Itachi's Sharingan analyzed and memorized every instant. Both Sasuke and Han managed to use the same amount of opposing strength, and their arms formed a scissor motion around Pain's neck. However, due to the difference in height between the partners meant the beheading wasn't clean at all, with blood splattered in all directions and Pain's head sent to fly aimlessly. When both fighters finished their motion, panting heavily, the headless Deva path fell to the ground, defeated. Everyone glanced speechless at the spectacle, and Itachi couldn't repress a warm smile. I'm proud of you, little brother, he thought. That was fast, the Han noticed. The guy who taught the Han this move was not kidding when he nicknamed it the Killer Guillotine. Sasuke shrugged. At 5 against 1 this was. It happened at this instant. The moment Itachi feared the most. And the Sharingan memorized it forever. A beam of light illuminated the area, before vaporizing Sasuke. The powerful attack hit the surprised genin before he could dodge, burning off his flesh and bones, reducing him to ashes. Itachi's mind shut down. At this moment, nothing mattered. The dozen aim Nins and giant summons rushing in to kill Yugao and Jiraiya didn't matter. The white chakra enveloping Han didn't even distract Itachi. The arrival of Pain's remaining paths wasn't that important. All that mattered were Sasuke's ashes and his killer's emotionless expression. The Azura path glanced at Itachi. He could have killed a bigger threat like Jiraiya, but a promise was a promise. I told you I would kill your brother if you betrayed me. At this moment, the Uchiha snapped. Itachi roared in blind fury and ordered his Susanoo to crush the undead with the Tatsuka blade. The ethereal warrior attempted to impale the walking corpse, only for the Preta path to grab the weapon. The Uchiha shrieked, as the Susanoo's chakra was drained whole from him. He actually felt the chakra armors collapse, and panted heavily. The Azura path exploited the opening to fire a volley of missiles at Itachi. The Uchiha's Sharingan quickly noticed the danger, and the genius leapt away to dodge. Unfortunately, one of the projectiles exploded at close range, propelling the former Anbu above the soil. He crashed onto the ground and was knocked out by the brutal aftershock. The Ashur path propelled himself like a jet by channeling chakra through his legs, preparing to crush Itachi's skull. He never reached the Uchiha. A Rasengan hit the path's back, destroying it utterly. Shit! Jiraiya groaned, as he reached Itachi, grabbed him, and dodged incoming jutsu from both Pain and his shinobi. Meanwhile, Yugao was forced on the defensive, trying to avoid strikes from a dozen opponents at once. A giant rhino, one of Pain's summons, charged at her and almost impaled her with his horn. Yugao was only saved from death when a huge, white tail of chakra whipped the creature and tossed it away. Then a cloud of steam covered Aim's forces, preventing them from seeing clearly. Jiraiya glanced at their savior. While the Sannin had already seen the Gobi in drawings, it was the first time he was looking at the creature in the flesh. The beast was both graceful and ugly, with a horse's body and a dolphin's head. But most importantly, it was huge. Much taller than even Gamabunta himself. The name is Koko. The Gobi yelled, "Jump on my back!" Jiraiya obeyed instantly, while still carrying the unconscious Itachi the best he could. When Yugao joined them, and grabbed one of the Bija's horns, the giant creature glanced at the cloud of steam it had created. It was already dissipating, and Aim's army was preparing to strike once more. Okay, Koko explained, I know we are, well, completely screwed over, but I'm pretty sure I can take down those summons, except maybe the giant bird. We aren't fighting back, Jiraiya decided, we're retreating. Yugao and the Bija said no word, begging for an explanation. Naruto has both the Rinnegan and the power of the tailed beast Akatsuki managed to capture. The Toad Sage elaborated quickly. Not only is he a formidable adversary on his own, but we'll have to fight all of Amigakure at this rate, and we will lose. Worse, the real Nagato isn't even here, he's controlling puppets from afar. We would better flee when we still can and return with reinforcements. And Fu and Naruto? Yugao asked. We can't leave without them. With luck, Guy's team and Kisame helped them break out, Jiraiya said grimly. But right now, we're all on our own. The loss of Sasuke is enough already. Let's not waste it. My container said he doesn't like the plan, but he doesn't have a better one, the Gobi admitted. Before inhaling sharply, grab my horns and try not to fall. The five-tailed beast turned its back on Amegeku's forces and raced through the city, quickly reaching the outskirts. And so Jiraiya, Itachi, Yugao and Han escaped from Amegeku, with Pain's animal summons giving chase. When the possessed Jinchuriki raised his claws to attack, Toby regained his composure and locked eyes with the beast. Obey your master, he snarled, activating the Sharingan. Obey. His only answer was a demonic roar and a punch. Of course, the latter phased through Toby harmlessly, but it was the thought that mattered. He's too berserk to fall under my control, the Uchiha thought, before teleporting away. If so, I don't need the Sharingan to tame you. The man hissed as he reappeared 24 meters away from the beast, activating Kakashi's eye. A black hole opened next to the Jinchuriki, destroying a leg, which instantly grew back. The possessed Naruto retaliated by waving his tails, unleashing a powerful hurricane. Toby was hit before he could turn intangible and propelled into a building's wall, crashing against it. The very next second, the Jinchuriki was already at his throat. Teleporting away as the beast was within an inch of killing him, Toby reappeared in a distant street. He could only watch, as the surrounding buildings collapsed, the Kyuubi rampaging through them in search of its hated foe. It was obviously a lost cause. Although the power of his Kamui had been tremendously increased when he had stolen Kakashi's eye, it had been implanted only recently, and its power wasn't enough to beat the beast. Alright, new strategy, Toby thought. If you can't beat them, have someone else beat them. When the Jinchuriki finally located him, Toby ran away, phasing through the buildings and houses with Naruto Uzumaki closely trailing him. The Uchiha quickly arrived to his target, Pain's Memorial Tower, the heart of his city. The plan was simple. Pain would have no choice but intervene in order to save his city from the rampaging monster, and hopefully he and the Kyuubi would slaughter each other. Or at least, the winner would be tired enough for Toby to finish him off. But Pain was not here. Only cannon fodder rushed in. Dozens of foolish Aimnin arrived to fight off Naruto, trying to valiantly protect their home and their god's tower. Their jutsu bounced off harmlessly on the monster's chakra cloak. Instead of stopping it, these doomed efforts only angered the creature further. The monster inhaled and started firing small, yet powerful blasts of chakra with his mouth, at incredible speed and with ruthless efficiency. One blast killed 3 Aimnins unlucky enough to be in the way. Another ravaged the surrounding streets, blasting houses to ground. And others hit Pain's tower, blowing it up entirely. All Toby could do was watch at the devastation, as the Jinchuriki kept firing in all directions in berserk rage, laying waste to Amegeku itself. The Uchiha marveled at the savage destruction, memorizing it forever with the Sharingan. This power, he thought, remembering the night of the Kyuubi's attack, why did I seek the Jubi? This power is all I ever needed. Toby was snapped out of his trance, when he noticed a blast aiming for his head. Activating the Mangekyo, the Uchiha absorbed the attack inside his pocket dimension, briefly turning tangible for a few seconds, which were too long, when the Jinchuriki reached the Uchiha and clawed at his face. Toby's good reflexes saved his skull from being entirely destroyed, but the Kyuubi's claw reached his newly acquired left eye, tearing it apart alongside a good chunk of the ear. The Uchiha shrieked in pain. My eye! He snarled, teleporting a few meters away before Naruto's fangs could chew his head off. Preventing the blood from flowing out of his body with one hand, Toby glared at the Kyuubi. You took my eye, you son of a fox whore! The sound the Jinchuriki produced in response was deep and animalistic, yet the Uchiha instantly recognized it. The beast was laughing at him. Memories flooded Obito's brain. He remembered his classmates laughing at his poor grades. He remembered Kakashi snickering at his failures. He remembered Rin's laughter, as she told him she was so happy to be in Kakashi's team. He remembered Minato and Kushina's smiles as they celebrated the birth of their first child, while they had left him to rot in a cave. Toby snapped, I'll show who's gonna have the last laugh. Obito Uchiha shrieked, his old composure replaced with intense, childish rage. I won't let a trash like you mock me. He vanished. The Kyuubi snarled, angry at his prey fleeing. Not that he would get far. The creature would track down the Uchiha to the other side of the earth if needed, and then slowly skin him alive for having dared to brainwash it years ago. Toby reappeared, but he was not alone. He was using Tenen as a meat shield, holding her above the ground with the right hand, while using the left to cover the wounds on his face. Now, Toby trailed off, tightening his grip to better strangle the kunoichi. Time to be a good hero and save the damsel in distress by surrendering. The possessed Jinchuriki recognized his friend, for its rage was briefly replaced with silence. Unfortunately, the Kyuubi's rage overwhelmed him, and the beast gathered chakra in front of him, giving it the shape of a sphere. Stop! Toby panicked, increasing the pressure on Tenten's neck. Stop or your girlfriend gets it, Naruto. Tenten coughed in horror, upon realizing what was happening. Please, I beg you. For the briefest of instant, the creature that used to be Naruto faltered, struggling against the Kyuubi from the inside. But the Bija's anger won out, and the possessed Jinchuriki fired anyway. The event could be seen from all corners of the land. Amigekyo was swallowed by a red light. The entire country shook, as a powerful blast razed the city to the ground, destroying buildings and torching the earth to ashes. The lives of thousands ended abruptly, and although some survived, many weren't so lucky, as the tailed beast bomb reduced them, their homes, their families, to dust. This day was a grim reminder for mankind that Jinchuriki were to be feared. Chapter 17. How can something so bulky move so fast? Koko cursed, as the giant rhino started to catch up to him, followed by a team of giant summons. The Bija was doing its best to lose them in the wastelands outside Amigekure, and failing. Can't you run faster? Jiraiya asked, glancing at their pursuers. 5 summons, he counted. Each of them carry amnines, or one of Pain's walking corpses. I could, but I would need my full strength for it, and Han's seal prevents me from doing that. The Gobi shrugged. Seriously, I feel so sluggish it hurts. Jiraiya-sama, Itachi. Jiraiya listened to Yugao's words and turned around. The Uchiha had started to wake up, and glanced around himself. Where is Pain? He simply asked, with strange, deadly serenity. Behind us, Jiraiya replied. Look, I know you want revenge, but now is not. Itachi rose up, and without showing any emotion, jumped from the Bija. While midair, he activated his Mangekyo Sharingan, and glaring at one of Pain's giant summons, incinerated it with the Amaterasu, killing it and the amnines on its back. Pain's human path, riding a giant bird, ordered his mount to impale the Uchiha with its beak. Upon landing on the ground, Itachi summoned the Susanu's arm. Its ethereal hand caught the bird's peck, then smashed the beast against the ground like a rag doll, crushing its skull. Its rider fell in front of the Uchiha, ready for battle. You're low on chakra, wounded, and cornered, Pain's human path stated. His followers had already jumped from the giant summons, ready to swarm their lone opponent. What are you hopping to do? To buy Jiraiya time to escape? I have lost the only person that mattered for me, Itachi whispered, his voice devoid of any emotion. You stole my light away from me. I have nothing to live for any longer. All I wish for now is to make you pay. The human path raised his hand to strike, but moving faster than the eyes could follow, Itachi kicked his neck, breaking it. The undead corpse collapsed helplessly, and Itachi moved on its next target, a dozen of Ame and Bu, ready to kill him. I will kill as many of them as I can, Itachi thought. That was his sincerest wish, to take out as many of Pain's followers as he could before they put him out of his misery. Without care for his own safety and possessed by an unquenchable fury, Itachi Uchiha roared and rampaged. His first victim was crushed to death by the Susanu's arm. The second fell to a volley of shuriken. The others were maimed, beaten, brutalized, as Itachi moved like the wind and massacred anyone in his way. To his berserk mind, this was no longer the land of rain. Instead, Itachi Uchiha was relieving his clan's massacre once again, when he had slaughtered dozens of his clansmen. Having chosen the village over the clan, he had been forced to make the ultimate sacrifice, wiping out his own flesh and blood. When he sliced the kunoichi's neck, he felt like he was killing his mother all over again. When the Naraka Path's fist hit him in the ribs without a word, Itachi Uchiha relieved the death of a cousin who had trusted him with his life. It was only when an Anbu's blade slashed the left side of his belly, drawing blood, that Itachi woke up from his living nightmare. Maybe this is why Madara's words about a world of truth are so tempting, Itachi thought, as he killed the Naraka Path by beheading him with a kunai. When you have lost everything, life doesn't feel worth living anymore. In the infinite Tsukuyomi, I could forever pretend I hadn't failed Sasuke. But Sasuke Uchiha was dead, and his brother would never live for a fantasy. There was only way to see his family again, and Itachi Uchiha was about to experience it. Pain's third summon, a giant centipede, approached and attempted to eat the prodigy alive. Summoning his remaining chakra, Itachi called upon both of the Susanu's arms, coughing blood as his body struggled to keep working. The ethereal hands grabbed the beast and ripped it in half. The Preta Path jumped in and grabbed the chakra arms, absorbing them. Now, without any forces left, Itachi mustered the strength to raise his hand, and attempted to punch the walking corpse. The path easily deflected the blow, before grabbing Itachi's head. The undead effortlessly lifted the genius above the ground, and prepared to crush his skull. Itachi refused to close his eyes, and waited for death to claim him. Instead, a blade separated the Predapath's head from the rest of the body, and the corpse fell motionless to the ground. Itachi lay motionless next to it, too weak to move. While Itachi had long since stopped caring about his surroundings, his Sharingan recorded the following events. Yugao Yuzuki, her blade still red with the blood of pain, moved on to finish off the rest of the Amnines, killing them one after another. Jiraiya, shaping a giant Rasengan, smashed Pain's giant rhino with it, killing it and the animal path riding it at the same time. The Gobi head of the last giant summon, a giant chameleon, tossing to the side. Before it could get up, the tailed beast smashed its hoof on the creature's head, killing it instantly. Aim's forces fell one after the other, until Jiraiya and his group stood as the victors. Itachi glanced at Yugao, as the kunoichi sat down next to him, her hands clad in fire. For a few seconds, as she pushed her palms against his wounds, he thought she was finishing him off. Her next words, however, corrected his misconception. "I'm cauterizing your wounds," Yugao stated. "This should lessen the blood loss. If we are fast enough, we should be able to find a medic to patch you up." She then glared at him. "What were you thinking? You would have been killed if we had been 1 second too late." "Leave me to die," Itachi whispered, which only made Yugao frown. "I have nothing left to live for. Just take a kunai and finish me off." "No." The woman kept searing shut Itachi's wounds, making him clench his jaw in pain. "I'm done having people die on me. Plus you need to face justice for your crimes." "My crimes?" Itachi snorted. "You know nothing. I sacrificed everything for the leaf, all for Sasuke's sake, and I failed him. I failed everyone. All over again." "Itachi, if there is one person in the world who knows about failures, it's me," Jiraiya whispered calmly, as he sat next to the missing nin. "I don't know what happened the night of the massacre, but if you need an open ear, I..." At this moment, Amigakure vanished. Itachi, Yugao, and Jiraiya all glanced at the once mighty city, as a powerful explosion blasted it away. From the distance, it looked as if the entire horizon had been set ablaze, swallowed by a red light. The earth shook, and the winds grew stronger, carrying ashes and the scent of burned flesh. Itachi Uchiha watched, mesmerized, at this event. As the light died out, memories rushed through his mind. The souvenir of the night Konoha was almost destroyed. "The Kyuubi," he whispered. "Did the seal break?" Jiraiya whispered to himself, horrified. "No, I don't think Foxy is at full power," the Gobi pointed out. "That jerk would have surely started a hurricane by now if he were." Itachi frowned, as a flying shadow appeared on the horizon, approaching their location. The Uchiha briefly wondered if it was another of Pain's summons, before discerning its shape, a giant green beetle with 6 wings and 1 tail. "Salutations, humans," the giant creature said, as it landed in front of the group. "Koko. How have you been?" "Hey, Komiai, long time no see." The giant horse nodded. "How long has it been since we faced each other in the flesh?" "Around 200 years, I think," the giant insect replied, before glancing at Jiraiya and Yugao. "Fear not, my container willingly allowed me to take over for the time. It was the only way to get her friends out of the blast range in time." "Her friends?" Itachi wondered before seeing 3 shadows descended from the creature's back. One of them rushed at the Uchiha's side. "Damn it, Itachi," Kisame hissed at his friend, "can't you just avoid putting yourself in trouble when I'm not around?" "It's stronger than me," Itachi deadpanned, briefly noticing Yugao was glaring silently at the shark man. However, the 2 other newcomers preoccupied her more. "Niji?" Jiraiya gasped, upon rushing to a one-handed Hyuga's side. "What happened?" "We were ambushed by a dangerous shinobi," a miniature copy of Mato Guy cried. "He murdered Sensei, crippled Niji, and then Naruto. Naruto turned into a monster. I forgot to grab the man's body," the Nanabai admitted. "I saw your possessed friend run off after destroying this city. No doubt is he currently rampaging in the countryside. We should try to track him," Yugao stated, fearing for her student's life. "I wouldn't if I were you," the Nanabai explained. "Your student isn't in control anymore. The 9-tailed fox is. Possessed as he is, Naruto cannot distinguish friend from foe, and will attack you on sight. If you pursue him, you shall only get killed. We can't just wait. After a time, the Kyuubi's power will subside and allow Naruto to take over again," Jiraiya explained. "In the meantime, it's too dangerous to follow him." And with Amigakure's destruction, this entire country will soon fall into chaos. So what do we do? Yugo asked. Jiraiya frowned. We tend to our wounds, he said, glancing at Nei, and we tried to salvage what we can from this disaster. Tenten collapsed into the snow, and the first thing she did was to gasp for air. She glanced around herself. It appeared to be a silent, serene forest. Probably one those near the frontier between the land of rain and the land of fire. Naruto Uzumaki, and her captor was still with her. Tenten glanced slowly toward the madman, who was currently holding his head with his hands, struggling with a headache. Why does your family always torment me? He snapped madly. I should have killed your parents before you were born, so you would never have existed. This would have spared me so much trouble. Tenten seized the opportunity to launch a kunai at the man's face, hoping to catch him off guard. He caught the weapon midair with his left hand. Then his lone remaining eye glared at the kunoichi, and his crazed rant was replaced with chilling monotony. You're alive? He mused. How odd. I must have teleported you away by reflex. The man fell into silence and played with the kunai. The kunoichi was pretty sure he was toying with the idea of gutting her with it. After a time, he seemed to make up his mind. Tell Uzumaki, he hissed, pointing his thumb at his damaged, wounded face, that for this, I will take everything he has. All the people and all the things he cares about. I will take them all away. And when he has nothing left but tears, I will rip the kyubi from his soul and strangle him to death. With my own bare hands. With this last threat, Obito Uchiha teleported away. After checking around to ensure he was truly gone, Tenten fell to her knees, as she remembered what just happened. Her Naruto had turned into a monster, and almost killed her. The glint in that abomination's eyes had been nothing short of frightening. And when it had callously fired, you will worry about this later, Tenten. She mentally berated herself, forcing herself to rise again. You are in enemy territory. No time to worry right now, no time to be afraid. When Naruto woke up, it was with one hell of a headache. Fortunately, he awoke in a warm bed, under heavy blankets, which were moving. And not all that warm. In fact, they were quite scaly. What the hell? Naruto rose up suddenly, realizing those were not blankets, but colored, small snakes. Am I in hell? No, a familiar voice told Naruto, as a black cobra glanced at him, hissing, in fact, you are at home. Apophis? Is that you? Naruto glanced at the other snakes, which he had met once or twice in the snake's hideout. Were you warming me up? Unlike you mammals, we snakes regulate our body temperature with the help of the sun, one of them hissed, a bit angry to have been disturbed. As such, we never needed a bed or blankets needed for you mammals. Since you were suffering from a fever, Apophis suggested we warmed you up the old way. Naruto nodded, thankful, before glancing around himself. The walls were made of stone, and the light coming from crystals. So, this is the Ryuchi cave. How did I end up there? We dragged you here, Apophis explained. The Snake Clan has had Amigakure under surveillance for a time, so we managed to get to you after. The serpent struggled to continue. After you? After the Kyubi's power took me over? The blonde asked, massaging his head. My memories are foggy, but I remember some of it. I remember fighting that bastard. Did I beat him? Yes, sort of. Apophis inhaled sharply. The White Snake Sage will explain you the situation in details. Can you walk? Yeah. I think. To be honest, I feel like I have been asleep for days. The snake's silence told it all. Have I? You have been asleep for an entire week. 1 week? Naruto blanched. But Niji was suffering from heavy blood loss. What happened to Han Fu and? Calm down, one of the snake hissed. The sage will tell you everything. Naruto closed his mouth and glanced at Apophis. Take me to him. A few minutes later, he entered the White Snake Sage's room alongside Apophis. The giant serpent leader wasn't smoking anything for a change, but instead toying with a crystal ball the size of Naruto himself. Ah, so you're finally awake, the reptilian leader noted. Do you feel alright, child? I have one hell of a headache, but I will manage, Naruto explained, bowing before the snake leader. Great sage, I have questions for you. First, how did you end up here? The sage finished for him, before sighing. It would be better if I told it to you later. First, nobody except us snakes know you're here. The shinobi nations are in shambles right now and pretty much everyone is looking for you. I thought it would be better for your security if you stayed under their radar. The giant snake exuded smoke from his nostrils. Secondly, most of your friends are safe. They were able to flee aim in time and were found by both Konoha and Kiri's forces near the border. Most? Naruto paled at the implications. Don't tell me. Your friend Sasuke did not survive the jailbreak, the sage told him. My sincere condolences. Sasuke? This was a strange feeling. His friend and sort of rival was dead? Sasuke was another name among the people he failed to help, alongside Kakashi, Sarutobi and Anko. I see, if only I had informed. You mustn't blame yourself for what happened, Apophis whispered. You couldn't do a thing. Maybe. But I should have prepared a better plan, instead of letting pain forcing my hand. Naruto clenched his fists. What about the others? Did they manage to get away? What about Team Guy? Jiraiya, Han and Yugao managed to get away with the help of Itachi Uchiha, the White Snake explained. Meanwhile, Kisame and Fu had saved Niji and Lee from death. As for Tenten, Obito Uchiha teleported with her before the Baijidama could hit them, and she managed to escape and rejoin Konoha by herself. Wait, Baijidama? Naruto tried to remember what happened exactly. What do you am? Then, he found a foggy, confusing memory, and blanched in dread. I fired a Baijidama at her? Yes, Apophis confirmed sadly. But, if it happened then… Naruto was at loss of words. I blew up an entire city? As harsh as it is to say, the destruction of Amigakure is only one of your problems, the White Snake whispered, placing his crystal ball in front of Naruto. I must warn you, this might be difficult to watch. Naruto briefly hesitated, but glanced at the item's surface. Images formed on it, portraying a very grim picture. The first images were that of a crater. According to the remaining buildings on its borders, Naruto guessed it used to be Amigakure. The blast had razed the city to the ground, leaving only smoke and ashes behind. Then the crystal ball showed pictures of destroyed villages, some small, some big. Buildings had been tossed away, houses had been brought to ground, and fields had been burned to ashes. It was as if a hurricane had passed by. What? Naruto trailed off. What did I? After you destroyed Amigakure, the Kyuubi used your body to go on a rampage across the land, the White Snake explained grimly. It wasn't following any coherent plan. It was simply going to the nearest settlement, destroying it, and repeating the process again. It was simply out to kill as many humans as it could before losing control. After a few hours, the Kyuubi lost control and you regained your original form, but the damage had been done. Fortunately, I had dispatched some of my agents to watch Amigakure, so they could follow your track. Some snakes and I had been following the Kyuubi from afar, Apophis explained. When you returned to normal, we grabbed your body and dragged you to safety. After the ravages the Nine Tails caused, we feared ninjas might execute you on the spot if you were found. How many? Naruto asked. How many did I? Are you certain you wish to hear that? The White Snake asked. Yes, Naruto replied, his tone as cold as an iceberg. The White Snake sighed. According to my estimations, I would say between 50 and 100,000 victims. The near totality of Amigakure's population, civilian and shinobi alike, is gone, and the Kyuubi mostly targeted populated areas. Unfortunately, the land of rain is a crux between the land of earth, of wind, and of fire. With the loss of the government, and the damage you caused, anarchy reigns, and some nations might be interested in conquering it, due to its invaluable strategic location. In the worst-case scenario, this might be the beginning of a new shinobi war. Naruto stayed silent an instant, before bursting out laughing. The reptiles watched him in grim silence, as the Jinchuriki fell to the ground. However, there was nothing joyful in his laughter. It was a bitter, despair-filled laugh. That's so horrible it's funny, Naruto said. I fucking killed thousands, and I might have started the fourth shinobi war. All on my own. Naruto, Apophis started, this wasn't you, it was the Kyuubi. The blood is on its paws. No, it's on mine, Naruto replied bitterly. While getting back to his feet, it's on my hands. I called it. I called it. Naruto snapped. When that bastard crippled Niji, I was so angered I let it in. I didn't fight back. Naruto glanced away. I'm a freaking failure, he said with finality. A joke, child. The blonde didn't bother to look at the white sage. Sometimes, we make mistakes. Some of them are more costly than others. You can sink depression if you wish, but now is not the time. Not when Akatsuki is still at large. Naruto blinked, his horror instantly replaced with fear. What? I told you Obito teleported away before the Baijidama could hit him or Tenten, the White Snake reminded him. The Uchiha released her, but he is still alive, as are some remnants of Akatsuki. As for Pain, my snakes were unable to locate his body or the demonic statue he used to capture the tailed beasts. As such, I heavily suspect he might have survived the annihilation of his stronghold. That bastard is alive? Naruto frowned, remembering Obito's sadistic taunts as he had Neji crippled. I must inform everyone. No, you won't. The white snake shook his head. Naruto, after the damage you caused, you are the most wanted man on the continent. Even Konoha can't ignore what you have done. They might try to protect you, but you are, as of now, a walking diplomatic disaster. If you get out of our lair, you will be arrested or worse. You suggest I just stay there, like a caged animal? Naruto snapped. Until the heat subsides, yes, the white sage growled. Boy, do not let your emotions cloud your judgment again. I know you might feel guilty, that you wish emotional support from your friends, yet you will have to do without them. I can send them a message if you wish, but the less people aware of your location, the better. Naruto clenched his fists. It was a crappy deal, but he could see the logic in the elder's words. So what do I do next? Right now? The white snake shrugged. Wait and see. Let the situation get clarified, so you can seize a new opportunity. It won't matter, Naruto thought grimly. It won't bring those I killed back. You should have let us get arrested. Yugao glared at Itachi. Do you want to die? I don't care anymore, the Uchiha replied flatly. Yugao had no trouble believing him. Ever since they had escaped from AIM, she hadn't seen Itachi eat anything, and his gaunt appearance showed how much he didn't care about his health. Even Konoha's medics had been unable, perhaps unwilling, to help. Well, I do, Kisame replied, as the small group continued walking through the Land of Fire's forests. Still, I do wonder why you helped us. You do realize helping two S-rank international criminals escape containment is complicity, don't you? Yugao shrugged. After leaving Amigekure, the group had managed to reach the Land of Fire's frontier before Itachi or Neji could bleed to death. A recon force had been sent to the border, and although reluctant to do it, they healed Itachi under Jiraiya's orders. As for Neji, while he survived the ordeal, the loss of one arm was crippling for his gentle fist fighting style. Still, the Hyuga was determined to overcome this disadvantage and become a better shinobi in his late sensei's memory. As expected, Itachi and Kisame had been placed under arrest. The first was too weakened to resist, and had obviously no will to do it. As for Kisame, he was unwilling to abandon his teammate and surrendered. The two were international criminals, known members of Akatsuki, and they would stand trial in Konoha. In Kisame's case, he would probably be extradited to face Kirigakure's judgment. Fortunately for the outlawed duo, Jiraiya, Yugao, Han and Fu had different plans. The latter three helped them escape in the night after knocking out the guards, while the Sannin stayed behind and did his best to cover it up. He said he would use his authority to delay the pursuits as long as he could, giving the fugitives a head start. I lived as a missing nin for years, Fu replied. It doesn't change much. Without you, the Han would have been killed by Pain, the giant told Itachi. The Han always pays his debts. Kisame glanced at Yugao, who glared back. I didn't do it for you, she spat. I did it for Naruto. Kisame winced at the venom in the woman's voice. He briefly wondered why she seemed to hate him so much, but decided not to push the issue further. How is this going to help your blonde? We haven't seen hide nor hair of him since he went on his little rampage. Yugao pointed a finger at Itachi. You plotted our evasion with Naruto for weeks. I do not know what kind of deal you had, but you are the best source of information on both him and Akatsuki we have. He is with his summons, Itachi replied coolly, everyone glancing at him. If he is alive, that is the only place he has left to hide. Ah yes, I wonder why I didn't think of it, Kisame replied. When criminals need a place to hide, they generally find shelter in their summon's lair. I escaped pursuits for years by hiding in the shark den. When I left Konoha, the first place where I went was the Raven Nest, hidden in the Land of Earth's mountains, Itachi explained. Only other summoners know their location, and summons do not take kindly to intrusions. If I were Naruto, I would have found shelter with the snakes, especially since they're the last creatures on Earth who would sell him to the shinobi nations. This sounds like our best bet, the Han said. It is not like the Han has a better idea. Yugao glanced at Fu. You went to the Ryuchi cave in the past. Have you no idea where it could be located? I was using Anko's blood to be reverse summoned there, Fu said. But maybe Nana could help. It had traveled around the world for centuries before getting caught and imprisoned. It might have an idea of its rough location. Sounds like you know where you want to go, Kisame said before glancing at his partner. Itachi, what do we do? The Uchiha stayed silent for minutes, before Kisame lost his patience. Itachi, I'm going to find Pain and kill him. This wasn't a possibility, but a fact. He took my light, I will take his life, even if it is the last thing I do. That so-called God is still alive. I know he is. My instinct has never betrayed me. He might have lost his stronghold, but he is alive, tending his wounds. And how do you intend to find him? Kisame asked. I don't want to sound pessimistic, but the two of us aren't exactly the best trackers around. We do not have to track him, Itachi said, glancing at Fu and Han. If he wishes to complete his mad scheme, he will need the two of you, as well as Naruto. If I follow them, I will find Pain. If we follow them, Kisame corrected him, before glancing at Yugao. So, boss? Can we come with you? The kunoichi appraised the duo with a cold, calculating gaze, before finally reaching a decision. The threat we face is too great for me to refuse help, even from your kind. If you try to backstab us, however, expect no mercy from my part. Whatever, Itachi shrugged. We will do what you want. The group continued walking in silence, until Kisame approached Yugao. What did I do to you? He asked. You killed my father when you were still working for Kiri, she replied flatly. After you killed your own men, you fought his unit, murdered him, and escaped. Watch your back. When Akatsuki is neutralized for good, I will kill you myself. The missing Nin thought about it for a moment, before coming to a realization. Wait, that guy with the purple hair and blue eyes? He was your father? You killed so many people, I am surprised you remember, Yugao whispered coldly. I never forget the people I kill in this world, Kisame replied grimly. After all, when I meet them in the next, they certainly won't have forgotten me. You allowed them to escape? Tsunade clenched her fist. The Toad Sage wondered if she was going to break her desk again. Jiraiya, have you gone mad? Did you forget what Itachi did? As for Kisame, that man is an international criminal whose body count is one of the highest in the bingo book. I didn't forget, the Sannin replied, grinding his teeth. If what Itachi said was true, then we've been fooled for years. Then why did you let them go? Because they helped us escape from AIM and wished to see Akatsuki destroyed as much as we do, Jiraiya replied. As for Itachi, I think we should check in Sensei's old S-rank documents. I have been informed of something I want to verify. I believe Itachi might have been the undercover spy giving Sarutobi information all this time on Akatsuki. Tsunade's jaw dropped, but she quickly corrected her expression. I see. I always wondered where his info was coming from. But why would that homicidal madman wish to help Konoha? Against a pardon? The situation is more complicated than I thought, Jiraiya admitted. But enough with Itachi. I have made my choice and my gut tells me it will pay off. What about the Land of Rain? The situation is, to put it bluntly, critical, Tsunade sighed. The entire country is a wasteland, and refugees have already started crossing the border toward either the Land of Fire or the Land of Earth. Without a government, the Land of Rain will descend into anarchy and be free to conquer by the armies of its neighbors. We can't have another war, Jiraiya said, especially since there are still members of Akatsuki out there, and they have 6 Bija. I know, the Hokage sighed, Jiraiya. After what happened in AIM, the world remembered. It remembered why Jinchuriki are seen as weapons of mass destruction. The last catastrophe of this kind was the Kyuubi incident and Takigakir's continued failures at controlling the Nanabai, but the Nine-Tails rampage in AIM is on another magnitude entirely. IWA and what remains of Suna have already sent Hunternines after the remaining Jinchuriki in fear it might happen again, and Kumo will soon follow. So what do we do? Jiraiya asked. We can't let Naruto be captured or killed. If only we knew where he was, Tsunade sighed, before handing a scroll to Jiraiya. Here, the Toad Sage opened and read it. A Kage summit? Mei Terumi sent this message to all the 5 Kage, Tsunade explained. She suggests holding a Kage summit in a neutral zone, the Land of Iron preferably, in order to discuss the recent troubling matters, from the Iwa-Suna conflict to the Land of Rain's fate, and how to deal with Akatsuki and the missing Bija. Kumo has already accepted, as will Konoha. Suna and Iwa will come too, if only to try to find allies. From what I see, you will only be allowed 2 bodyguards, Jiraiya pointed out. Isn't that risky? Only if I don't have you as a bodyguard, Tsunade replied. Shizen will come too. The 2 of you will be most helpful to help me and convince these old geezers to be reasonable. I'm not sure you're the most qualified to say that, Jiraiya thought, but didn't say a word. I would have preferred to search for my godson. I mobilized all our forces to that end. The slug Sannin shook her head. If all of Konoha can't find him, you won't either. While if you help me, We might avoid a fourth shinobi war that could claim thousands of lives. While Jiraiya wanted to protest, he had to admit she had a point. Besides, it would be useless to find Naruto if he were to be declared an international criminal at this summit. Alright, he finally decided. I will come. Wonderful, Tsunade said with a smile. What about my other request? I have approved your proposition, the Hokage replied, before frowning a little. Are sure, however? Beside the fact they might not be in the best mood to have a replacement, you haven't taught a team since that mission where Minato's teammates were killed, Jiraiya cut in coldly. I remember, thanks, Jiraiya. Tsunade bit her lower lips. I'm sorry, I didn't want. I know, the Sannin cut in. It's just. Guy died under my command, and I want to make up for it. It's my duty to watch after them in his place. I wish for you to succeed then, Tsunade replied, before sending him off. You deserve some happiness in your life. Good luck with him. Once he had left the Hokage Tower, Jiraiya immediately went to the training ground where he was to meet his new students. He found them already present, with one helper. Tenten was talking with Hinata, while Lee was helping place a mannequin on which Niji could practice. Both Niji and Tenten were pale and gaunt, the former due to his recent convalescence, the latter due to lack of sleep. I'm not sure you should do that, kiddo, Jiraiya told Niji. As he announced his presence, Tsunade herself might have patched you up, but it would be better if you rested a little more. The sooner I get used to fighting one-handed, the better, Niji shot back. So the Hokage officially made me Team 9's new sensei, Jiraiya replied. I know I will never replace Guy, but I promise, I will do my best to make you good ninjas. As long as I get the power to pay back that asshole for everything he did, I'm okay with it. The Hyuga genius spat to the ground. What about Naruto-kun? Hinata asked. Is he alright? Jiraiya didn't miss Tenten's brief tense expression when the blonde's name was called. I have no idea, the Sannin admitted, but everyone is looking for him. He will reappear eventually, but right now, all we can do is wait. The young ninjas looked disappointed, but Jiraiya couldn't do more. He ordered Niji and Lee to have a friendly spar, so he could better appraise how the Hyuga was doing with only one arm. While Hinata and Tenten sat down nearby to watch, the Sannin approached the latter and started whispering to her ear. You had that nightmare again, didn't you? Yes, she admitted, massaging her head. Every time I try to sleep I see that thing again. Jiraiya couldn't blame her. He still remembered what Kushina had often turned into on the battlefield, and such images would have scarred anyone. Tenten had almost been killed by her own crush-turned-monster, and he doubted their friendship would ever fully recover. She would never forget that event, Jiraiya sighed inwardly. Why do the people I care about never get a happy ending? That dream started so well. A little lower please, Naruto groaned, as a naked foe massaged his back. He glanced around himself, enjoying the sight. So, all the hot girls I know decided to pay little old me a visit? The girls giggled, and Naruto realized they were all as naked as the day they were born. I've heard you needed some help with calibrating your big jutsu, Tenten said with a smirk. Maybe I could help. I can help you polish your tanto, Yugao added with a wink. Just get it out of its scabbard. You know I really would like you to serve under me, Mei stated, her breasts surrounded with mist. Want to get to the back of my shop and count gold? I am started. You get free milk, as my favorite customer, and Naruto. Hinata shuddered. I feel so cold. If only you could help me warm up. Paper isn't the only thing I can stroke and fold, Conan said. Hey boyo, Tsunade began. Wanna play cougar and lamb in my office? I've got something on my mind, Ino Yamanaka added, and trust me, it goes 3 ways. I know some genjutsu that will make you vibrate like the Chidori, Kurenai added. Man, what a storm of double entendre. The Han is all excited. Han? Naruto blinked, glancing at his fellow naked friend, who was getting a shoulder massage from Shizun. Why am I dreaming of you? The better question is, why would you not be dreaming of the Han? No, I mean, this is obviously some kind of kinky erotic dream, so why the hell are you in it? Just like the Han told you, the giant said, everyone is gay for the Han. By the way, the Han bets the next double entendre will come from Fu. It's a dream, it's not supposed to be logical, Fu replied, before shrugging. Maybe he's there for protection. Called it. No matter, Naruto snorted and went along with it. So what's next? We've all got a big surprise for you, Mei chuckled, as Fu finished massaging him. Close your eyes, and open them again. Naruto smirked, and did as he was told. When he opened his eyes again, everything was on fire. What the? Naruto got back to his feet, and realized the ground had been replaced with warm ashes. Han! Naruto screamed, but his friend had been replaced with a smoking skeleton, as were everybody. The skies were red and the clouds pitch black. Buildings and houses were burning all around the blonde, who realized, horrified, the area looked a lot like Konoha. But on the horizon, he noticed someone standing. Someone alive. Tenten! Naruto screamed, rushing at her. He extended his hand to grab her, but he was too slow. Giant claws impaled her through the chest, before lifting her above the ground. The blonde trembled in dread. The creature had the shape of the Kyuubi, but instead of a fox's head, it had Naruto's own, with bestial fangs instead of teeth. The monster grinned and his maw widened. Upon realizing what was about to happen, the young ninja screamed. "No, don't!" The monster ignored him and swallowed Tenten whole. Naruto paled in horror and trembled, as the creature glanced at him. "Yeah, so tasty!" The monster laughed with Naruto's voice, his fangs red with the blood of his victims. "Such a perfect snack, don't you think? Remember those we ate? All these screaming horrors and runts? Remember how delicious their ashes tasted? I didn't." Naruto took a step back from the beast. "I never wanted that." "Sure you did." The cheerful voice was coming from behind Naruto, who turned around. His own shadow had gained a physical shape, but it had Sharingan where the eyes should have been. "You wanted it. You always wanted it. The power to squish them all like bugs." "You're lying. Tenten is so good. Why can't I walk on walls too?" The shadow mocked him. "Han can punch through walls. Why can't I do the same? Why has Ino a family while I don't have a mommy and daddy? What they have should have been mine. I hate them all. I wish I could take everything they have. I wish they could suffer, like I do." "You're not me!" Naruto snapped, trying to punch the shadow, his fist going through it. "You're not real. You're just a nightmare, am I? Or is it your life that is the nightmare?" The giant monster chuckled, his face turning into the Kyuubis. "It's like Dosa told you. There's those who have the power, and those who don't. The weak is the meat of the strong, so why not chew a piece of the world too? Together, we can eat them all. Do you feel the jealous hunger inside you?" The shadow whispered to Naruto's ears. "You want it all. You want the power that was denied to you at birth. You want the women, you want the respect, you want the authority. No matter how deep you try to bury them, these desires are inside you. You want to turn their looks of pity into screams of terror. You want their blood to flow, so they all suffer like you do. That's your truest wish and you know it. Stay away from me." Naruto screamed, trying to push it away. But his hands were covered with blood, like the rest of his clothes. Tears of fear started streaming down from his cheeks. That's not possible. That's all a lie. That's your work, Naruto," the Kyuubi laughed. "That's what you want. All you have to do is close your eyes, and I will make your problems go away. You just have to let me in." "No!" Naruto screamed. Stay back. Stay back. Let me in." The Kyuubi snarled, trying to grab his Jinchuriki. "You want it, I want it, so let me in. Let me take over." "No!" Naruto opened his eyes in the physical world, panting heavily. He got off of his futon, shivering heavily. Apophis glanced at him in worry, laying on a pile of clothes. "You had a nightmare again? Did I wake up the entire Ryuchi cave again?" Naruto asked, the reptile not bothering to reply. The blonde got to his feet, cracking his knuckles. Upon glancing at his surroundings, he realized something was wrong. "Where are my kunai? I had them removed," the snake hissed. "You shouldn't sleep next to it. Your sleep is already very troubled. You might accidentally hurt yourself with them." Naruto glared at the reptile. "I need them to sleep." "No, you do not," his familiar replied. "The white sage has considered giving you sedatives, but he fears they might not be effective enough, considering your accelerated healing. He is looking for a new product that would help you sleep much better than laying next to a weapon." "How compassionate of him. He is worried for you, and so am I," the reptile hissed angrily. "You have been there for days and you haven't eaten once. You don't sleep that much, and you spend your days either practically catatonic or glancing at your weapons with a look I do not appreciate." Naruto glanced away. Truth to be told, he had been seriously considering dying the same way Tsukumo Hatake had, by opening his chest with a kunai or a tanto. With luck, the Kyuubi's chakra wouldn't be enough to cure a wound that severe. Committing seppuku was a nasty way to go, but in Naruto's mind, it was no less than what he deserved. Beside, that way, he would take down the Kyuubi to the grave with him, ruin Akatsuki's plans, and maybe atone for his rampage. "My friends might miss me, but this would be better for everyone," he thought. This way, they won't suffer from their association with me. Sorry for lashing out, Naruto whispered. It's just, I'm not thinking straight lately. Apologies accepted. Apophis slithered to the ground. I brought you new clothes. If possible, it would be good if you were to wash and dress in 10 minutes. There is someone that you need to see. Fu and Han? Naruto asked, instantly interested. Jiraiya? No, nobody from Konoha, but someone important nonetheless. The snake glanced at the cloth pile. She wishes to have a tea ceremony and to discuss important matters with you. Naruto glanced at the pile of clothes, shrugged, and went along. Needing to give a good impression, he chose an elegant, perfumed orange kimono with blue spiral motifs to wear. Apparently, the snakes had smuggled some clothes tailored for him from Konoha. Someday, I will have to ask how they can even carry items, the Jinchuriki wondered. They don't even have arms. It wasn't the first time Naruto had a tea ceremony. After all, it had been one of Anko's main hobbies, beside eating dango and beating people within an inch of their life. Little did he know this would be the first time he would hold such a ceremony with a Kage. When he entered the tea room, Naruto had been surprised by the newcomer's identity. After all, she was the last person he had expected to see in the Ryuchi cave. How she did come to know its location, and why the white snake had allowed her entry in the first place, the blonde had no idea. He tried to hide his surprise, sat in front of the woman, and watched her closely. Mei Tarimi, Godame Mizukage, had chose to wear a beautiful, cyan kimono covered with purple flower motifs. She had let her hair down, and had slightly loosened the top of her kimono, exposing a little of her cleavage. Naruto guessed this was intentional. The woman was a gorgeous kunoichi and knew how to exploit her charms. Naruto couldn't repress a light blush. Good morning, Naruto-san, Mei said, smiling upon noticing the blonde's face. Have I left you speechless? I dreamed of you, Naruto deadpanned. In a good way, I hope, Mei replied with a knowing sarcastic smirk. And here they were, sitting right in front of the other, a cup of tea in hands. Apophis was waiting next to his summoner, resting lazily on the ground. I assume you have questions, Mei began. How can you even be in Ryuchi Cave? Naruto asked bluntly. Why are you here? That's a long story, Mei admitted. It began during my Chunin exams. At the time, Yugura was still in power, and I was one of the most promising kunoichi Kiri had produced. But while my teammates wanted to prove themselves to our Mizukage by killing off the competition, I was a terrible party girl at the time. I ended up getting drunk with and befriending a kunoichi from Konoha. When you studied under Anko. Naruto nodded. She told me you had kept contact, and she had asked you for help after Orochimaru's defection. She wanted to deal with her cursed seal, and she thought I might have information on the Uzumaki's sealing techniques. Unfortunately, I couldn't help her much. Mei-sen was brought by Anko multiple times to the Ryuchi cave, Apophis explained. The white sage ended up giving her free access to it in exchange for favors. Such as? Naruto asked. Information, mostly, Mei explained. That's how the snakes work. They accumulate intelligence, then offer it against favors they will claim back at a later date, and before you know, you find yourself in their debt. While snakes do not have many summoners, many shinobi trade information with them, either directly or through intermediaries. And even our system pales before the spider clans, Apophis whispered. Their intelligence network is so large almost nothing escapes their notice. Give them 10 minutes, and they can find anyone or anything. Even after becoming Mizukage, I maintain friendly ties with them, Mei added. Much like you, it is a mutually beneficial relationship. So when I was brought there, they informed you. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Why? Because I am the only Kage in the world that wouldn't try to abduct you. Konoha itself would probably try to get you back in order to better protect you, but after what you did in AIM, I think some elements in their military wouldn't mind seeing you gone. Naruto chuckled miserably. 100,000 casualties. I did as much damage as a shinobi world war. That would be funny if it wasn't so terrible. Mei watched him with a strange expression. It's not your fault, she whispered gently. The tailed beasts are natural disasters. It is extremely difficult for a human to control them. A single moment of weakness is enough for them to take over. I know! Naruto snapped, holding his head. I was weak. I let it. I was so angry. I wanted to show Jinchuriki weren't monsters, but I have given reasons for all of the shinobi nations to hate. Stop saying that. Mei cut in. Nobody can understand the sacrifice Jinchuriki make for mankind. With their very lives they protect mankind from the threat of the tailed beasts, and for this they are reviled and despised. People should be grateful Jinchuriki sacrificed their happiness so events like what happened in AIM do not repeat themselves. Naruto glanced at the Mizukage, surprised by her answer. Before it was sealed, the Kyuubi was destroying mountains and causing tsunami, killing more people than you did every day, she declared. So don't blame yourself for what happened. You have kept it sealed for more than a decade, and for this you get only hate. You have already done much more than anyone should have. She's right, Apophis added. The land of rain also captured you, remember? Pain brought this calamity upon himself. This doesn't excuse what I did, Naruto replied, although he was intrigued by Mei's words. He suddenly remembered what made him transform, and massaged his neck. The curse seal interfered with the yandames. Has someone looked at it? The sage did, and it is not good, Apophis explained. The yandame's seal is damaged. Leaking. In a few years, or maybe a few months, the seal will grow thin enough for the Kyuubi to break out. Naruto blanched in dread. At worst, it meant a free Kyuubi. At best, they would have to transfer the beast in another Jinchuriki, killing him. I need Jiraiya, he said. He's the only one who has the knowledge to avoid that. If he doesn't, I will have no choice but drag that furball down to hell with me. Not really. Mei smiled. I have an alternative to offer you. Naruto raised an eyebrow. I am not sure if you are aware of it, but Yugura-sama, the fourth Mizukage, was a Jinchuriki. And more importantly, the only one beside the Raikage's brother to have ever fully tamed his bijou. In his great wisdom, he wrote the secret of his method among our nation's scroll. You can't be imply. I can show you how to control your bijou, Mei confirmed, if you trust me, that is. Naruto stayed silent, although inwardly, he was struggling against the urge to beg for that secret technique. She's trying to exploit your guilt, dumbass, he thought. You mustn't show it. Stay focused, stay cool. I mean no offense, he finally admitted, but I don't. Mei didn't seem all that surprised. Well, it was worth a try. It's just, I'm no easily impressed boy. Naruto inhaled sharply. I know your country lacks a Jinchuriki, and the only reason you're talking to me is either recruiting me or tricking me so you can extract the Kyuubi from my belly. And Yugura, let's just say what I know of him isn't really encouraging. The Kunoichi narrowed her eyes. Yugura-sama was a victim, she explained. In fact, I doubt he ever was the true Mizukage for very long. His reign started full of promises, and then that masked man turned it into hell on earth. Naruto raised an eyebrow, genuinely surprised. The masked man? We suspected it for years, but it took my loyal AO to prove it. Mei explained, with a hint of sadness. Yugura-sama was never fully himself. In fact, he was under the power of an elaborate genjutsu for years. A genjutsu that controlled him like a puppet, while the real mastermind was hiding in the shadows. She brought her teacup to her lips, seemingly lost in her memories. A civil war was started to remove Yugura from power, sparkled by Zabuza's failed coup. I was one of the leaders of the insurrection, and when we confronted Yugura, we met him. A one-eyed masked man, and the real Yandame Mizukage. In the battle, Yugura was killed, but the man escaped by teleporting with an unknown space-time ninjutsu. After years of investigations, we managed to prove not only was he a member of Akatsuki, but the organization had exploited Kiri for their nefarious purposes, kidnapping our second Jinchuriki and using the bloodline massacres to abduct Kekkei Genkai wielders. To what end? Apophis asked. Creating soldiers, examining the source of bloodlines. According to notes we managed to secure, my scientists believe this masked man wanted to recreate the mighty Rinnegan, the original bloodline, for his own ends. But half of his policies had no other point beyond causing my country pain. I think he just wanted the entire land of water to suffer as much as possible. Mei sighed. After a time, we revealed this information to the populace and rehabilitated Yugura's memory. But we lost both our tailed beasts and the country was broken beyond words. I have only been in power for a few years and the land of water is still a mess. The Kunoichi smiled. I would lie if I told you I didn't wish you would join Kiri, she explained. But the main reason I'm offering to train you is that our true enemy, Akatsuki, is not yet beaten, and since they have six-tailed beasts under control, we need the Kyuubi's power to fight them. This sounds reasonable, Naruto noted, but I'm pretty sure she's just trying to make me indebted to her. Yet she's right. The true enemy is still out there. The masked man, Naruto trailed off angrily. His name is Obito Uchiha. Obito Uchiha? Mei raised an eyebrow. Who is that? I fought him in Amigakure, but he had lost his mask at that time, Naruto explained, clenching his jaw. A friend of mine identified him as Obito Uchiha during the battle. He was a former student of the Yandame Hokage, who was believed to have been killed in action during the last Shinobi World War. As it turned out, not only did he survive, but he was the one who unleashed the Kyuubi on Konoha years ago. I think the technique he used to control the fox was the same he used to control Yagura. The more he talked, the more Mei frowned. You fought him in aim. Does it mean he died fighting the Kyuubi? No, Naruto said, remembering this fateful moment. The Kyuubi tried to kill him with a tail beast bomb, but he managed to teleport away seconds before the projectile hit him, alongside a hostage. He's still plotting somewhere. Mei narrowed her eyes. I see, she said. One more thing we Kage will have to discuss at our summit. A Kage summit is about to be held? Naruto guessed. I guess it makes sense, after everything that happened. In 2 weeks, we shall hold a Kage summit in the land of iron, Mei said. I hope the threat of Akatsuki will be too great to ignore and enough to unite the shinobi nations. With luck, we will solve the land of rain's issue peacefully. Naruto considered the situation for several seconds. This might be my only chance not to be branded as an international criminal. So it would be best if I hide until the summit is over. With luck, Tsunade will be able to convince everyone I shouldn't be executed, or at least that I should get a fair trial. If Akatsuki doesn't find me first. How many people are aware of this summit? Right now, only Kage and their closest advisors, but it will be made public soon. The kunoichi instantly guessed his thoughts. You think Akatsuki will try something? They lost their main stronghold, their leadership is in shambles, and if this summit goes well, the shinobi nations will unite to hunt them down, Naruto explained. There is no way they won't try to sabotage it. Good, Mei said, much to Naruto's amazement. Think about it. By forcing Akatsuki into a corner, we have the upper hand, baiting them into revealing themselves and making a mistake? Naruto narrowed his eyes. Killing myself would be like letting everyone down, the blonde thought. I would let Akatsuki get away with everything. Obito will be free to continue threatening Konoha. He's so full of hatred he will never stop harming people, with or without the Kyuubi. He would never stop threatening Naruto's loved ones, even if the blonde was dead. Naruto came to a clear revelation. Dying would be the coward's way out, he realized. I can't die. Not when Akatsuki is still out there. I can't bring the people I killed back, but at least I can prevent Akatsuki from causing more damage. I will destroy this organization, or I'll die trying. We will need you. Mei locked eyes with him. You need to master the Kyuubi's power to have a chance against this Obito, or any of the main members of Akatsuki. Naruto brought the teacup to his lips, without ever breaking eye contact with the Mizukage. No, he said, I won't ever use that power again. This power is inside you, Naruto, Mei countered, you were born with it. It might be dangerous, but you cannot deny it will be useful. And if I lose control once more? He snapped. I won't let it in. I won't let it in ever again. What if Yagura's miraculous technique doesn't work? You said it yourself, the nine-tailed fox is a natural disaster, and the best a Jinchuriki can do is hold it off. And that's what Jinchuriki were supposed to do, before they were turned into weapons of war. He glanced at Apophis and petted the snake's head. I never wanted this power, Naruto said, while finishing his teacup. Truth to be told, it's more trouble than it is worth. And the one time I fully accepted it, the one time I let the Kyuubi take a foothold in me, thousands died, and I almost killed one of my best friends. So no, I won't let the Ninetails get out of its seal ever again. Mei raised an eyebrow, doubtful, but moved past this subject. So what are you going to do? I'm going to destroy Obito and Akatsuki. To Naruto, it wasn't a boast, but a promise. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will. Then, I'll face whatever punishment awaits me. Mei Terumi smiled. Well, you sure are an interesting boy. We are doomed. Are you kidding? This was wonderful. Deidara's hologram smirked. If only I had been there to see it. A blast that destroyed an entire city. Such a masterpiece, Kakuzu snorted. He had sent a telepathic message through Akatsuki's rings to the remaining members, hoping to get an answer, and only this clown had responded. Since Konin, Itachi, Kisame and Pain do not answer to calls, then I assume they got killed in the blast, he grunted. This is so fucked up. It hadn't taken long for the news to spread like a wildfire. The Kyuubi's Jinchuriki had transformed in the middle of AIM, before razing the city, killing the near totality of its inhabitants. Due to the strategic importance of the now disorganized Land of Rain, the great nations had officially announced a Kage summit to discuss what to do, and find out how the Kyuubi Jinchuriki ended up there in the first place. The great nations won't take long to discover Akatsuki had kidnapped their Jinchuriki. Kakuzu spoke. Our secrets are out. So what do we do? The bomber asked. We hide and do our best to be forgotten. Kakuzu snorted. With luck, They will be more preoccupied by the disappearance of the Jinchuriki to try hunting us down. Silly Kakuzu, a new voice cut in. We haven't lost yet. Kakuzu frowned, as a third hologram appeared in front of him. Toby had changed his attire, trading his usual dark attire for purple robes. His spiraled mask had been replaced by a white one in the form of the Sharingan, the same dojutsu he was wielding inside the right eye's socket. In the left one, there was nothing but darkness. Toby? Deidara blinked, and for once, seemed genuinely happy. You're alive? Thanks God, I thought you had been killed. We all thought. Kakuzu frowned. Why did Pain tell us you were killed in action? Because he hoped I was, the man answered calmly. How odd I ended up outliving him. By the way, how many of us are still alive? The three of us, for sure, Deidara began, before scratching his head's back. Wait, does Haiden count? No, Kakuzu said calmly. Then just the three of us. I saw Konan being killed by Jiraiya. When he tried to break Naruto out of Pain's jails, Toby lied through his teeth. Pain would have contacted us by now if he had survived. As for Itachi and Kisame, they betrayed Akatsuki for the shinobi nations. He. Deidara chuckled, before realizing Toby was serious. But Toby, that's crazy. Itachi freaking murdered his entire clan, and let's not talk about Kisame. Those two would have been killed on sight, unless they proved themselves valuable by selling us out, Kakuzu pointed out, clenching his fists. He glared at Toby. Since you apparently were in aim, what happened to the bijou we stocked there? I have no idea, he admitted. I scouted the area a few hours after the blast, and I found nothing. The statue vanished, so it was most probably destroyed in the blast or teleported elsewhere. None of us except Pain had control over it anyway. If only he had managed to recover the Rinnegan. So we have no tailed beasts, we have lost Pain, and our former comrades might spill Akatsuki's secrets to the Five Nations, Kakuzu resumed. Wonderful. I say we should blow up their Kage summit, Deidara grinned. Since Itachi is alive, I can't wait to fight him. Moron, the second the shinobi nations will learn about Akatsuki, and how we abducted their Jinchuriki, they will focus on exterminating us. And even the three of us don't stand a chance against them without the tailed beasts. True, direct confrontation would be suicide. Toby chuckled. How fortunate we ninja never fight fair. Both Kakuzu and Deidara observed him in silence, and the masked man continued. I have a plan, he explained, a plan to take over the world. And with your help, I can make it work, Kakuzu snorted, unconvinced. Yeah, right. When Pain was gathering the Jinchuriki, I was aware there was a slim, yet possible, chance our main plan would fail, either due to circumstances or because our enemies got lucky, Toby explained. Since I'm a prudent person, I've kept an ace in the hole. A backup plan for world domination, without needing detailed beasts, or even Pain. Toby, you've been planning behind Pain's back? Deidara frowned. Hell, since when are you smart? He has been hiding his true abilities for years, Kakuzu explained, narrowing his eyes. I was always suspicious why Pain let a clown join our group. But if you had this plan, why not take over first? Surely this would have been easier than capture the 9-tailed beasts. I didn't use this plan because it is risky. He pointed his thumb at his face. This mask is made for battle, and that's what this plan is, a battle, to win a war. We will need all the resources we have left. All our men hidden, the weapons we were stockpiling. If we lose, we will lose everything. If we win the world. No middle ground. It will either be Akatsuki's last stand, or its ultimate victory. Kakuzu raised an eyebrow. He admitted, if nothing else, to be genuinely curious about what the masked man had in mind. What about the remaining Jinchuriki? Do we have to capture them? Toby briefly clenched his fists. Without the statue, we have no means to extract their bijou and contain them, he said. When we see them, we will put them down. Like dogs. He shrugged. However, if possible, Naruto Uzumaki should be spared. I have plans for him and the Kyuubi. When I have it extracted from your son, Konoha will be my first target, Namikaze. Deidara and Kakuzu exchanged a glance. Toby, I'm all ears, the Mad Bomber concluded. Go ahead, Kakuzu started. Tell us your plan, genius. Let me explain you how we will turn this debacle into a triumph. In a shadowy room, underground, under the sea itself, 100 ninjas were kneeling before their god. Each of them was proudly wearing their homeland's forehead protector, even if it was gone. They were hiding in the shadow, waiting for their nation to be born again. We are almost ready, Kami-sama, one of them whispered. It will awaken soon. Meanwhile, their god was meditating, in the shadow of a giant, monstrous statue. The same statue that shielded him and his personal guard from the fire that devastated their home. They were the last Amnines, a cycle. The Amnine raised an eyebrow. Kami-sama? This is a cycle, the man explained, his eyes opening, revealing the Rinnegan, an endless cycle of death and revenge. Konoha oppressed my country and took my family from me. In my blind wrath, I destroyed a part of their city and threatened Naruto's friend. In retaliation, he wiped Amigekyo from the maps and Konan along with it. But we survived, Kami-sama. But so many died by my fault. Nagato sighed. The spiral of death. I can see it grows stronger every day. The destruction of Amigekyo will spark the Fourth Shinobi War. Our world shall know war once again. This is inevitable. The shinobi world will grow more merciless as it refines itself. A world built upon hate. He clenched his fists. But not if I move first. His soldiers listened in silence. With the power of the tailed beasts, I shall become the new sage of the Six Paths, he declared. Uzumaki will rise again, and from it, I will pass my judgment upon mankind, as my forefathers wished. And from the ashes of the old world, I will build a peaceful, beautiful one. So stand up, my chosen! Nagato declared. For Yuzu's greatest weapon lives again. Make popularity poll. Wow, that took a while, Jiraiya said. I mean, how long has it been? 3 months? 2, Naruto corrected. I guess the author didn't have much free time. I just wish he could hurry with his updates. Anyway, Fu interrupted the discussion. The character popularity poll is over, and time to reveal the winners. Bah, where's the mystery? Han snorted. The Han is number 1, like always. This isn't Atlas. This is the Han and his colorful sidekicks. Actually, you're second, Jiraiya snorted. Naruto, you're the winner, with 138 votes. I'm so proud of you, see? Naruto gloated to Han. My superpower isn't a bijou. It's popularity, the Han calls hacks, the giant shrugged. Only 134 votes? The Han must have blinded voters with his brilliance. I'm third with 66 votes. Fu laughed. Team Jinchuriki for the win. I'm only fourth with 57 votes. But that's enough. Tenten smirked. Thanks all of my fans. I promise not to use you as target practice. And the fifth winner is, me? Anko laughed. 52 votes. Not bad for someone that has been dead for nearly 10 chapters. Oh my god, she's haunting the story, Naruto whispered. I can't believe I'm 6th, and Kisame 7th, Itachi wondered, must be my Uchiha appeal. And like always, little brother is far behind. Nuke and bromance for the win, Kisame chuckling, before glaring at a sulking Yugao. How you got the same score as me I will never know. And I managed to get 9th, way before Terumi and you old geezer, Toby snorted at Danzo. Who's the boss here? Yeah, that's weird. The more atrocities Obito committed, the more popular he became, Jiraiya noted. Anyway, Naruto, Han, the big guy in red, Fu, Tenten, Anko, you're our polls winners. As such, you get to be the stars of a bonus chapter, but I'm dead in the story. Anko whined. It's not a canon one, well, semi-canon. Just let the chronology cry in a corner and roll with it. It's based on a Naruto movie anyway. Okay, cool. Just a question, Naruto asked. What is the chapter's name? Atlas Unchained? The Han begins. Avengers Age of the Bijou? Fu offered. The Dark Han, the amazing spider ninja? Tenten suggested. The Dark Han rises. Konoha Pai. Anko said. The Han of Steel. Will you shut up? Jiraiya shrugged. I'll keep the surprise for readers, but where Atlas goes, canon goes off the rails. Prepare for madness, insanity, humor, and mind-blowing bad jokes. Anyway, thanks for voting and reading, Naruto told the viewers. The author and the characters love you all. That's it for this video. If you want more of this, please let me know in the comments, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.